It's about being correct, being transparent, honest, because this is the only way to create long-lasting relationship. Once you have all this in your relationship, because we said that we are working also in the relationship business, these people are the people who will support you in maybe in your next business you're going to launch, or maybe in your next bar you're going to work, or you're going to own. So essentially, be just as I wrote on my very first business card that I created a long time ago, essentially be a good guy to know.
Cheers! What's up, everybody? This is Paul Sfele, and I want to welcome you back to a brand new episode of Hospitality Secrets Podcast. In this episode, again, I came with a lot of questions. I have hundreds and hundreds of questions to ask the hospitality experts from around the world. What is their perception about hospitality? How do they see this hospitality industry? And how can we make the hospitality industry a better place? So in this special episode, I have another surprise guest that I invited. It's a fellow international bartender, a good friend, and actually I met Max La Rocca. I met him in Romania. He came to deliver a masterclass in a city, Brașov, here in Romania, and I heard about him. I followed him on social media. He's a very active bartender on social media. He's doing lots of different projects. He has big collaborations with world class and with big brands. So I was kind of following him on social media. But when he came to deliver that masterclass in Romania, I've been to that masterclass, and I was looking at the way he was delivering that masterclass, and I was so impressed about the level of the energy, about the engagement that he actually delivered in that masterclass, that it made a real pleasure to listen to what he was sharing there. So I was impressed, and I liked his warmth, his kind hospitality, his kind words. So I kind of like him very much back then, and since then we talked a bit, and I still followed him, and he's still doing a lot of things. So I'm very honored and very happy to introduce today's surprise guest, Max La Rocca. Max, thank you very much for accepting the invitation, and welcome to Hospitality Secrets.
Hi, Paul, and thank you so much. For me, it really fills my heart with joy when I can connect, when I feel a good energy just like yours, and when I can share tips and tricks with our fellow bartender and hospitality professional. So thank you so much for having me in this podcast.
It's a big pleasure. It's a big pleasure to discuss with hospitality experts about hospitality. So, Max, where are you now?
Now I'm in Italy. I'm in a very small town between Rome and Naples. I'm on the beach, so I'm a beach boy, as I like to call me, and reinventing myself from my very first hometown.
Nice. Yeah, now with all the internet and all these connections, we can still be together from different parts of the world. So yeah, nice. Max, can you share a bit the backstory, your backstory with the listeners? Where did Max La Rocca started in hospitality industry? A briefly backstory of your journey in this industry.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. And even if today I've had the pleasure to and the honor to travel the world, not right now, but in the past, and I hope this will get really better soon, as a global bartender, bar trainer, competition coach, and content creator. But he started completely in a different direction. Okay, so actually I started working on the beach, and I'm not talking about lifeguard or Baywatch, but I was actually delivering the chairs to the tourists and cleaning actually the beach, and I was a little kid. I was 11 years old, and I started to see, for the very first time in my life, tourists enjoying themselves, coming to this really nice beach village where I live. And I like this energy, the fact that I could talk with the people different from my very small hometown, like 3,000 people, and I say, "Oh, this is amazing. I love that energy. I love this connection." So after this, in the same place where I was actually cleaning the beach, they opened their very first restaurant. So I was going to the hospitality school and I started working in this restaurant and also started to see in the kitchen, oh wow, all this flavor. And I could see in the eyes of the chef the passion that he was having while putting together this flavor and creating these beautiful dishes. And I say, oh, this is something that I will love to do. Creating experiences, creating emotions. But I like to try different paths in life. So very soon I became bored, believe it or not, I became bored and I decided to move to do something completely different. And I'm talking about selling telephone contract door to door.
Oh, so
It
you
was a
did
kind
the
of,
selling door to door.
yes,
That's
door
a
to
skill.
door. And actually, I'm going to talk you in just in a few seconds with you why all these different things are helping me doing what I'm doing today. So I'm been selling contract that I moved again as a DJ. So I started DJing in some wine bars and restaurants, like some really nice chill music to help people enjoy their time. Then I moved with my parents and work as a pastry chef assistant. And I can tell you, Paul, that in 8 months I put on 8 kilos. So after that, I felt really guilty. So I said, you know what? A friend of mine presented me a new opportunity that it was in nutrition to help people lose weight from getting weight. So I get now I need to lose weight. I'm gonna help also, and I was going from one bar to another with my nutrition powder and mixing it with my little hand blender and show bartender and consumers. Then I moved from there and I had my own web agency. So that's where I learned all the tips and tricks that I know today when you talk about communication, when you talk about creating a soundtrack, using the music, all the things that I use nowadays. Then little by little, I started working in hotel reception, and that's something that really helped me a lot in what I'm doing today, because one thing is welcoming a guest when he's coming to have a beautiful evening at your place. Another thing is to welcome a guest when he comes from a delayed plane, angry, upset, is a completely different story. Then from there, I moved and started to doing some really easy cocktail at my hometown bar. And only afterwards, I moved to five-star hotel. And the reason why I told you all this is because a lot of people, especially young bartender, ask me, I missed so many chances in life. And what I can say is that if life gave you that chance, that opportunity, is because you needed that particular path in that particular time of your life. In fact, exactly when the way you were nodding when I was saying telephone contract is because this really helped me when it comes to upselling my product, upselling my services. And one thing, I had so many no's. No, we're not interested. Thank you so much. It's really frustrating. So now I understood, even when it comes to product and services, especially cocktail, that when a customer says no, it doesn't mean actually no. It means no now. I'm not ready now. Okay. So maybe you're just asking, you want to try different kind of, let's go simple, another variation on a mojito, maybe a passion fruit mojito. And he doesn't trust you and he says no. Maybe after a week, he goes on holiday, in a nice place, is very open, heart and mind. He tries a passion fruit mojito, then he comes to your bar, can I have what you recommended last week? Okay, so we need to give them time. We need to give them time, and don't take a no for a no. It only means no now. Okay, then working in the restaurant as a chef d'around gave me a complete perspective of what we do. I always say, if you're not working on the floor, you will never be a complete bartender, okay? Because you develop, you become like a radar, when you work on the floor. Every breath, every movement, every noise, you notice it. Instead of just working behind the counter and like an alchemist with your head down. Okay, you are a DJ, you are there, you need to know what's
To
happening.
feel the vibe, to read the people, to see what they need. Yeah.
Exactly, so you are a DJ. So going back to my experience being a DJ as well, this is really helped me to understand the power of playlist. I never go to any bar in the world, even though when I do my guest bartending shift, without knowing the playlist before, because I know what kind of vibe there will be in that room that night. Paired with my cocktail, paired with a signature menu, everything needs to be, combined.
Aligned. Yeah.
Yeah. Then when we go to the nutrition side, you say, how this helped you in the past and in the present, making sure that we use quality product. I always say it's very hard what I say now is that, but you need to think that when you're giving a product, a cocktail to a customer, it's like you are putting liquid or solid into the intestine of someone. Okay, so think about your grandma, think about some relative, your parents, and think about them being your guests. Would you really give them like a powder sour liquid or this kind of thing? Like, now it looks from ages ago, but people still do this. So think about the health also of your guests. And the pastry chef assistant's experience really helped me into color combination. So phantom fruits and combination, matching, contrasting, and all these kind of things are really helping me. So as you can see, every step of my experience is helping me in what I'm doing now, having the chance to travel the world and also learning about new culture, new product. And, I only started work behind the bar in 2005. So it's not a long time ago, even though I developed this love for people and this love for flavor when I was working into restaurants. So for those people that say it's too late for me, I would say don't listen to other people's voice, just thinking about your own voice, because I started when I was 34 behind the bar, So it doesn't give you any excuse. And then I developed and started working in 5-star hotel. And one of the, let's say, latest project where I was working as a bar supervisor is the boutique bar at the All Hotel that I delivered with my team to become one of the 50 best bar for the Sunday time in only 365 days. So
in 1 year,
in 1 year, it can be done, and it's not about shiny toys, but about things that I will share with you going forward in this interview with you, Paul.
Nice. So you have some experience, even though it's somehow related to hospitality industry. And when I were talking, I was thinking about Steve Jobs' quote that says that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect the dots looking backward. When you are working as a door-to-door salesperson, you are not thinking that at some point this skill will help me selling more cocktails. But now that you are looking backwards, you can connect all the dots.
Exactly.
Nice,
Exactly.
nice. So, Max, you have a rich history in the hospitality industry, and I know that you did many, many other things and a lot of other things. But we don't. I don't think we have time. We need days to say everything you did in the hospitality industry. But can you distill all your journey in the hospitality industry? Can you distill this in just one sentence? What was your life in hospitality industry in just one sentence?
Oh my God, Paul, one sentence. Okay.
Let's
Okay.
distill.
So yeah, I will say this, and every time I say this, I get goosebumps. The sentence is this: service is joy.
Mm,
Okay, so most of the times we don't realize that we do a job that we love. Okay, so I'd seen many friends, relatives, even my parents that have been working all their life for very little money, waking up early in the morning, maybe having to deal with very arrogant bosses, managers. So never underestimate the importance of being grateful, okay, about what life has put on our journey, on our path, okay. So I would say service is joy, relating back to how grateful I am to share with so many guests, with so many bartender, and nowadays also virtually. So it becomes part of me, part of being joyful, because it's something that I really feel deep inside. So I would say the sentence is service is joy.
nice, nice. That's so deep, and I can relate it because this is, yeah, we are here to serve, and by serving others, you are feeling more happier. Nice, nice, super, super nice. I would like now to do like a small exercise of imagination, to imagine a bit that you suddenly lose everything you have. You lose your name, you lose your reputation, you lose your job, your businesses, your contracts, you lose everything you have. The only thing that it remains, it's your know-how. Nobody can take what is here, what you have, the know-how. So you need to start from zero. The only what would you do in order to get back up in the hospitality industry?
Hmm. Okay, so you know, I started many times from scratch.
So you have a plan.
And yes, and from what you heard before, right? And but also one of the very important lesson that I learned from beginning from scratch again. It's in Ireland. Okay, so I was working in Italy as a bar manager, getting 1,800 euros a month. And then I got an opportunity to go in Ireland, and I never worked in the bar business outside my country. So I said, you know, instead of being the Max La Rocca blah 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 in your own country, let's go and discover how the flow of the work it's done in another country. So essentially I went back to Ireland, becoming a barback again. Okay. And of course, my energy, how I like doing things. I was really passionate, and after a few months, I was in the role of the bartender and then bar supervisor and everything. But this is history. But what I can tell you from this is that, um, especially for the young professional out there, never be afraid of doing some steps back. So I became from a bar manager to a bar back and then a bartender. But then look at what I have the honor to be today, because from there everything evolved. I was there, was making, five-star hotel cocktail in a very small little town with a Relais Chateaux vintage castle. Then I knew about world class. I won world class. I went global. So as you can see, from doing those steps forward, I did a big jump. Step backward, I did a big jump forward. So What could I do to, if I lost everything? In every job that I would apply, print, my beautiful curriculum and go again door to door or, by emails, I would over deliver every
Mm.
single time. So a lot of professional tells me, but Max, I already do enough for my manager. It's never enough, and especially nowadays with this pandemic and with these difficult times, you can be fired tomorrow.
Mm. Yeah.
So there's no such a thing as I'm doing already enough. Because now it's the time, especially now that we have even more time to study, to educate yourself, because you need to be, there is a lot of competition out there, so you need to be in the forefront. One of my managers used to say, enter slow, but then make an earthquake. So everybody needs to know that you have come to that place. Okay? I'm not meaning in an arrogant way, but being humble, transparent, correct. Don't step on anybody, but you need to make yourself notice. Something is different while Paul is in the team, while Max is in the team. So I would say if I lose everything, I will make sure that I will not be afraid of stepping back, number one, and over deliver every single time.
Over deliver. Nice. Nice. And this is like a
Yeah.
good, sounds like an amazing plan. And I'm asking this question because unfortunately with this pandemic that it's happening in the world and the hospitality industry taking such a big hit, lots of bartenders are in this situation of being needed to take it from scratch to starting all over again. So now if you're in this situation, you have a good plan that Max shared of over delivering, take a few steps back and enter low and do an earthquake with the energy,
Yeah.
with integrity. I like those very much.
And especially now, just connect to this, Paul, talking about the virtual aspect of it. Over deliver there as well, put your face in it. Don't be behind the scene. Make some live session. Be
Mm.
there. The world wants to know what you're thinking. And maybe these people can align, can relate to you. So over deliver virtually as well.
Yeah, especially now that everybody is virtually. We should be here also. That's why we are doing it also. I think it's the same reason we are doing it to be there, to be present in people's news feed. People
Exactly. And
need to
in the
see,
heart as well.
and in the heart, indeed, in the heart. If you speak the right language, you go to the heart. And talking about the heart, actually the heart of this podcast, it's hospitality, and I strongly believe that in these times we need to go a bit deeper into the concept, the philosophy of hospitality, and what hospitality is. And what we know, hospitality is different according to the culture, according to the person who is perceiving it. So I'm very curious, and with this podcast I'm in a quest of finding out as much as it can be articulated about hospitality and share it with the world so we can revive, reinvent the hospitality industry. So the main question of this podcast and the question for you, what is hospitality for Max La Rocca?
Okay. So for me, this is something that is really close to my heart is making people feel better about themselves when they leave our bar. So they need to feel this change in the awareness that they have of life, that they have of services, that they have of you and of your place. So what is the first step in achieving this? They need to feel understood, they need to feel important. And the first step for me is very simple, saying hello, introducing yourself, saying that you are there to make their coffee, to make even those 10 minutes at your bar special. So the reason why we interact straight away, it's not just about saying hello, good morning, good evening. This is being polite. This is not hospitality. It's just something that is part of your job. So the reason why we need to interact straight away is because we want to understand straight away what is the emotional state of that guest, you know, because probably you've seen by yourself, Paul, you know, in one day, how many feelings do you have? Maybe you are sad one time, then after an hour you get a nice phone call, maybe a new customer, you are happy, you know. So we need to think the same way for a customer. Even though he's a guest that always says yes to your variation on classic cocktail, for example, that might be that particular day that his emotional state is completely different. So if we keep on trying to push, try this, try this, try this, what we are doing is already put like an invisible wall in front of us. And what we are doing, we are destroying all the relationship that we have created maybe in 1 year. Okay, so we need to see by interacting, by say hello, how these guests react. So by that you understand if it's somebody that day, I'm saying again, that day, because they can change from one day to another, the same person. If that day is he wants to talk, he wants to be left alone, he's sad, he's happy, okay? So it's not about saying hello to be polite, but to say, what is the response? And then I can take the journey outward, you know? So essentially is this: make them feel better about themselves when they leave our venue.
Nice. So we are working in the industry of making people feeling better about themselves. So yeah.
100%.
Let's imagine that I'm completely new to the hospitality industry, and I would like to start working for you in your place. How would you explain to me what hospitality is, and what do I have to do in order to show hospitality to my guests, me not having any experience at all in this industry?
Oh, that's a good question. I will take, let's say you are the new guy, and I will say, Paul, come with me to the park. And we just sit on a bench without doing anything. And we just do a very simple exercise that is called people watching. And we just watch the people go by, and we try to get into their psychology. So looking at all the details, let's see this lady. Maybe she's got sneakers, maybe a tracksuit. Maybe she's into fitness. Maybe when she comes to my bar, she would like an alcohol-free drink or a fresh juice or something light. Or maybe let's say the gentleman. Maybe is a father or it's a manager, what kind of drink he would like to have. So the more we do it, I mean, this exercise looks like only fun, but the more we do it, it becomes like a muscle. The more you become good at it and try to anticipate the customer needs. And then I would say, Paul, before anything else, you will need to know what the primary human needs are. So not just talking about our guest needs, but the needs as a human. Because if we don't know these things, we cannot sell anything, not even a glass of water. So I would say, there are 6 primary human needs. We're talking about security, certainty. They need to trust us, okay? So they want somebody to trust in the way that we are transparent with the prices on the menu, the way we talk, the way we know the product in our bar. So they want to feel, oh, Paul really knows what he's talking about. So I feel secure, I can trust him, you know? The second need is variety. So again, make variety in your product, in your services, in the way you present them. Another need is the need, of course, of importance. So especially for the new kids in town, I would say you are not the star of the show, they are the star of the show. So by making them feel important, even if you have some complaints, if you have some difficulty and you've gone through these primary needs, they will help you. Otherwise, they will give you really hard time. Another need is the connection. Of course, we all want to feel connected. And one that I like is also the need for growth. So just by explaining an anecdote about whiskey, about the behind the scenes of a cocktail, they are growing. So they feel that they know more than before. So again, they feel better about themselves when they leave our bar, you know. And the last thing for me, the most important, is the need for contribution. So they want to contribute to the success of that particular evening. So most of the times we don't take enough time to ask them feedback. And that's the way they contribute, okay? Maybe it's a good feedback, maybe it's not so good, but for us it's a precious, and we help them, satisfy one of these very important needs.
So they feel that they contributed with their feedback.
Yeah.
And they feel important that they are being asked. And nice. The feedback.
Yeah, maybe this steak is not cooked that well. Maybe it came not at the right time when you were doing trying to impress me with a cocktail pairing, but the timing was not right. By contributing, he said, okay, maybe now Paul knows that next time, not only for me, but for another guest, will behave differently.
Nice. So you would take me into the park, you would take me out of the comfort zone, you would put me learn how to read people, to go in their mind and understand more about them, and then to explain me about the basic human needs, because people are coming for those needs and we are there to fulfill those. So kind of I would have a good start in the industry.
So as you can see, we haven't even taken one shaker in our hands.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because it's more than just shaking drinks and making cocktails.
Exactly. So, we are in the experience business. We are in the relationship business, not only in the making drinks and food.
Yeah. And talking about experience, I have an extra question that I'm very curious about. Which is your most memorable hospitality experience that you felt as a guest, not as a bartender or the manager? Which is the most memorable experience that you ever experiment in the hospitality industry as a guest?
Oh my God.
Top of mind, which comes first?
Yeah. When I went once, now I'm really going back in time, but I was in Barcelona and I was working at the boutique bar. But my mom and my sister came to see me, and we went to the W Hotel in Barcelona, and it was a memorable experience because for the first time I went to a cocktail bar with my mom and sister, and so I really disconnected from my ego as a bartender and even as a guest. And I felt like being inside the body of my sister because it was her birthday. And I was just noticing every single step that the bartender and the floor staff were doing to make sure that her birthday was one of the best birthday in her life. So it really, I felt like crying, and say, wow, I mean, we don't realize that we can impact so much and make people have goose pimple and cry. In fact, one time I was working, as a bar supervisor, as I said, in Barcelona, and I opened the door to a lady saying goodbye, and she started crying, and she said, nobody ever opened the door for me in my life. So as you can see, how strong and memorable. I think this lady will never forget me in her whole life. Not because it's me, because of the situation. So make sure we understand the power
That
in
we
all
really
these.
have, yeah, that we really have a power, yeah, and of
Yeah.
being a host. And the next question would be about the strategies of being a host. Are there some strategies of delivering these memorable hospitality experiences, and what are your top 3 strategies, for example, for being an absolutely amazing host?
Okay, it varies a lot, of course, depending on the crowd or the people or on the time. Um, we're talking about, I don't know, pre-dinner drinks. We're talking about after-dinner drinks. So the energy is different. But I would say my top 3 strategies will be: the first one is never look down on people. Okay, so I remember once when I was working in this vintage castle. It's a really old castle in Ireland, and I've got these guests that enter to the restaurant hall with sneakers and tracksuit, and I did the mistake to look down on him or say, "Look at this. He knows that there is a dress code, you know." So from that moment on, after this experience, you know what he said? I can buy you, I can buy your castle, I can buy the whole neighborhood. Okay? So from that moment, I said to myself, as a bartender at that time, I will never look down on people, and I treat everybody the best way possible, because you never know who is entering that door. Okay, so my first strategy will be never look down on people. The second one, and this comes from one of my many gurus that I had in my profession, that we have two types of guests. Always remember that we have two types of guests. One is our paying guests, and the other type are our colleagues and staff. Okay? So once we understand that we need to treat them with the same attention, with making them feel important, exactly as I said for our guests, they will make our role as a host even more powerful, because we will act together. If they feel important in the team, they will act like an orchestra. So it's not only me being the right host and trying to be nice to people, but it's an orchestra, and everybody is playing a different instrument
And
to
have the
make sure
contribution to
that
the, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that guest will feel in the middle of the orchestra, surrounded by violins, by pianos, and would say, "Oh my God, 360 degrees, 3D experience." So it makes myself as a host even more powerful. So the strategy number 2: remember that we have two types of guests, and the last one, it's remember your service recovery strategy. So always remember what to do, because it's easy when everything goes well, you know, nice music, nice drinks, but how do we turn our mistakes into opportunity? And not only me as a host, but also my staff needs to know exactly what to do.
Yeah,
To
because we are
recognize
human. Yeah, we are doing mistakes because we are human beings. Yeah.
Exactly. So we need to, first of all, recognize the mistake, because sometimes we will get really sneaky customer. They just try to get a discount, you know? So we want to recognize the mistake first, maybe repeat the mistake. Did I understand this correctly? So get them again to say about what happened, empathize about the mistake, act, know what to do to solve the problem, but not only this, how to exceed the expectations. So there's a, the steak was not the best steak, not cooked at the right temperature, blah, blah, blah. But now we will try the very first time your steak with a really nice, I don't know, bourbon cocktail that you will try instead of your glass of wine. You will not expect this. So when I leave your place, I would say, okay, it started as a problem, but that, wow, I was top of priority, very fast serving, something that I wasn't expecting. Then I was also asked, how did we recover from the mistake? Okay? And then we say, oh, you did it brilliantly, or you made it even worse. You never know, you know. So
Yeah.
again, you can see everything is connected. So again, the three strategy, just to recap, is never look down on people. Remember, we have two types of guests and know exactly what to do in case mistakes happen, because they will happen. We are human, exactly as you said.
So this is a good strategy of being a good host. And as you said, I liked it very much that it's not just about us being a good host, because hospitality, it's a teamwork. If only us, we are the stars, is one person, one bartender or one waiter that is doing things very, very correctly. He's being the best host, but the rest of the team is not delivering. It's not a memorable, it's not a good experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Woohoo. So we have some nice strategies here. Things are getting warmer. I always like talking and hearing about hospitality because this is like music to my ears. But now, if we are at Hospitality Secrets, so I would like to find out some secrets from hospitality industry. Can you share with us what is your biggest secret, your, let's say, let's call it secret sauce for being such a successful to have such a success in the hospitality industry?
Okay, if I had to share, okay, many secrets, but one secret for today. Again, I'm all about people. I've always been and I will always be. So I would say that look for the strength in the people that are surrounding you and try to leverage this strength as much as you can, because the success of your team, the success of your supplier, the success of all the people around you is what will take your own success up to the roof, because these we are not, I would say we are not going anywhere without our team, without any connection with the people we admire. So I would say the secret to get even more successful is to make sure the people around me are successful and I help them as much as I can.
Nice, nice. Always we eat smarter and stronger than me. So
Yeah.
working as a team, you can go faster, you can go further. And I like somebody was saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together.
I like that. I'm gonna steal this one.
We share it. I stole it also. So yeah, yeah, and very very well said. Because as a team, we can hospitality. It's a teamwork. The whole hospitality industry. It's a teamwork. It's if only one is performing, the place is not successful.
Exactly.
Good, good, good. So, Max, you have a big experience and you shared a lot of valuable information and precious stuff here with me and with the listeners, and I really appreciate that. Can you share with the listeners the projects that you are working on? What are you working during these times? I know you are doing always lots of things. You're not doing just one thing. You are having lots of projects. So what are you working on?
Exactly, exactly. Lately, I've been working also with something new for me, but I really am enjoying. I'm working with consumers, so delivering some team building experiences for corporate and for consumer groups. And this is so much fun because there's no such an expectation when you talk to your colleagues and other stuff, but you can really make it simple, going back to the basics. So delivering a lot of these virtual let's say teamwork experiences, but also reinventing myself just as you're doing as well digitally. So creating video courses and webinars, where I would love to share, I would say 5-star hotel strategies to the everyday bar. Okay, so the
Wow.
neighborhood bar, the pizzeria, the restaurant, and cocktail bars as well, because I find that it's easy to talk to the best, because they have the resources, they have the money. But what about small businesses? They even have enough hard time to identify what are the priorities they need to change or they need to become better. So we're not talking about shiny toys, vintage shaker, expensive equipment, but how can we help them raise the daily income, or how can we use upselling technique, the right question to do at the counter or at the table, how to leverage, as we said before, the potential of their team. So I would say the main pillars of what I'm doing now go in 3 different directions. The first one is hospitality, of course, since we are here in Hospitality Secret. The second one is personal branding. And the third one is a cocktail competition, not as a shortcut to success, but to become a better professional. In fact, I deliver both live, that digitally. One of the seminar that you've been also experiencing, that is called Winning Hospitality, when we talk about impressing your guests, engaging your staff, and empowering your menu. So,
Which is an
I will,
amazing masterclass. I want to
yeah.
add, it's amazing. It's very nice, and I strongly recommend it.
Oh, thank you. The really nice power of this masterclass, both digitally and in person, is that I managed to deconstruct, every single step of the customer experience from the moment they enter your venue to the moment they leave. So we're talking about music playlist, temperature in the toilet, all the what I call the invisible world of hospitality, and I share all the steps that we did to become, one of the 50 best bar in only 1 year. So I share all this in this first course. The second pillar is branding, and sometimes, bartenders say, but bartending is not social media, is not web, but we said that we are working in the experience business and the communication business. So branding for you is part of your role. It's communication. So the other pillar is a course called You Are a Brand, when I help operator to enhance their credibility on social media to become the better candidate for their job, profession, promotion, or partnership they're looking for. We're talking about things like how to think as a brand, how to write effective text and words into a particular post that has the potential to show our services and product, how to use LinkedIn effectively, because I saw everybody in Instagram and Facebook, but we know that LinkedIn is the social media with a tie, so we need to be there as well, correctly, and how to use the future of curriculum, which is the media kit, correctly, and how to create one. And the last pillar, of course, is cocktail competition ninja. And both you, Paul, and myself know that after a competition, if we mentally approach it in the correct way, we really become better professionals. So in this course, I'll talk about how to approach cocktail competition with effective planning, because planning is a great part of a competition. You know this very well. Creativity, charisma, but first of all, without stress. Okay, so we talk about a lot of technique on how to
Breathe.
relax,
Yeah.
focus, energize. You remember those
It's
exercises,
important. It's very important. Yeah, it's very important.
And if you allow me, Paul, I would like to share where they can find all these resources.
Please, where they can find and how they can the listeners connect with you was the next thing that I would like to ask. Yeah, where they can find all of this.
Okay, so going back to the importance of personal branding, and I will share, if you allow me, this tip with all of you. You can find all these resources into Max La Rocca Tribe. In every single platform, I use the same account name. Okay, and this is a tip for everybody, because so that people don't lose you. So in your business card, it's only one name for every single platform: LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all under one name. So you can find me at Max La Rocca Tribe or at maxlarocca.com/courses. Nice and easy.
Slash courses. Good. For the listeners, I will put also this information you will have in the description of this video, so to know where to research more for these very nice courses that Max is it's working. So you're doing some stuff. So slowly we got close to 1 hour to the end of the podcast. Unfortunately, time flies away when we're discussing about things that we are passionate. But I would like to ask you a final question, and that question is about what is your number one takeaway that you really want the listeners to take from this podcast after they leave? What do you want them to remember? The number one thing.
Okay, I don't have any doubts about this. It's about being correct, being transparent, honest, because this is the only way to create long-lasting relationship. Once you have all this in your relationship, because we said that we are working also in the relationship business, these people are the people who will support you maybe in your next business you're going to launch, or maybe in your next bar you're going to work, or you're going to own. So essentially, be, just as I wrote on my very first business card that I created a long time ago, essentially be a good guy to know.
Be a good guy to know. Boom, drop the mic.
Yes.
Max, amazing. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Thank you very much for being part of this podcast.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for having me and for giving me the chance to share what we really love. And as you said, the time flies when you're talking about the things that we love. So thank you so much again for this podcast. I think is helping a lot of professionals out there, and to see there is so much more than product and cocktail and dishes, and we need to really dig deep down to make sure we become better professional and we create unique experiences. So I will thank you for having me in the podcast, Paul.
It was an amazing pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I found a lot of new things. So I really appreciate for being part of the podcast. And for the listeners, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for sharing this time, for investing your time in these valuable resources that Max shared with us. And if you have some questions that you want to ask some future guests, just let me know. Send them in a message, and I will put those questions. And if you want to listen to the podcast, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, and many other podcast platforms, or you can visualize it on YouTube to also see it. I hope this is useful for you. I hope the whole thing that we are doing here with this podcast helps this industry to be a better place. That's it for today. See you next week. Cheers.